I've never experienced anything like this. These are the first words we've uttered to one another every day or today. We're talking about Carvana's best, Hertz dumping EVs, and the Delorean dispute.
Oh,
Wait till you. This story about the DeLorean is unbelievable. Actually,
it's wild.
It's unbelievable.
And I have we haven't even talked this morning. I have a little injection about the second story that you don't even know exists in my brain. It's gonna be great.
Wait, that's the best part of this. In our conversations this morning, we formed a new word called FOMomentum.
FOMomentum.
That is what ASOTU CON has right now. It's got straight up FOMomentum. We've crossed into this. I know it happens, but I've never experienced this before, where it's like we've hit that inflection point that everything is just kind of not coming undone. It's coming together. Selling tons of tickets. There are going to be lots of dealers there. We have sponsors who originally said no, who are now reaching back out and be like, what do you have left?
About that.
Maybe,
maybe we should be there.
So we're trying to all the print deadlines are passed, but we're figuring it out. And I went into our app for the first time last night. Well, I set up our profile, but I browsed around the event app last night. It is next level awesome.
There's so much in there. It's unbelievable, actually. Just the fact, like the communication, the messaging between people, and the ability to set up a profile and see the event space and see all of that. It's really, really cool.
There's a leaderboard with points. I was number 4 as of last night. I was like, there's a leaderboard. I was like, let me start doing some of these things. You can post on it. There's a bunch of people already posting on it. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of communication going on in this app. That obviously you'll only be privy to.
And we haven't even
at the event.
There's like 10 more things that we're
turn on
putting into that app. Like we haven't even got started with that.
Can we put swag ordering on the app?
Yes. We can. That's a great plan. Yes.
Order your swag now. Come pick it up later. Oh man, the swag booth is going to be so much fun. But either way,
got my handy dandy notebook here.
You're like, there are going to be awesome notebooks in the swag bags, by the way. If you can be there at all, try your best. ASOTUCON.com. You will not be sorry. This is just going to be an amazing, amazing event. And we're 2 weeks away from the last day right now, actually. Today's going to be the last day of ASOTU CON in 2 weeks from now.
Wow. Crazy.
Boy. Well, that's a good way to start the day. That's why we're a little late with the show today, because I was head down and then I looked at the time. I was like, I better get to the studio.
Here it comes.
It's all good. Well, we got some fun stuff to talk about today. Today's one of those days when, we built the show early in the morning and there's just things to talk about that are pretty interesting. And apparently you have something in the second story I don't even know about. Let's talk about the first story first. Carvana's latest earnings are signaling a substantial turnaround with a net income of positive $49 million in Q1, which is a 17% increase and a significant recovery from the $286 million loss they posted in the first quarter of 2023. With the news, shares obviously went up, but they went up a lot, 37% so far in pre-market trading. The Q1 net income of $49 million does actually, though, include a $75 million gain from stock warrants in a company, Root Inc. That's a finance company? What is that? I can't remember what it is. I think it's a finance company. But without that, so if you figure that in, it's a $75 million gain, or I'm sorry, $49 million gain. This part contributed to $75 million. It still would have been a $26 million loss posted for the quarter, but which is still a lot better than the $286 million loss last year. They sold 91,000 used vehicles, increase of 16% year over year.
Wow.
They still have inventory shortages there. Get this, the vehicles listed on their site are only there for an average of 13 days.
That's a quick turn.
That's like, what is that? 2 point something turns a month. CFO Mark Jenkins noted the inventory situation is still limiting their sales volume potential, and the company plans to increase production to enhance vehicle selection. CEO Ernie Garcia said this quarter validates our belief that the potential of online retail to drive industry-leading profitability and customer experiences. And Root is an insurance company.
All the people that got in, like when this thing went to $7, literally a year ago.
What is it?
Do you
What
remember
is it
that?
right now? Do I? Because I know a ton of dealers that were like, forget that. And then I knew a ton of dealers that were like, we're buying a bunch of stock. But most of them sold at like 20.
118.
No.
118. It jumped from 80 something yesterday to 118.
Oh my gosh.
Like Carvana is on to the moon path. It's kind of nuts. They're not going anywhere, fam.
Can it sustain? I mean, I have to say there's a lot of respect for a company that can be teetering on the edge of bankruptcy.
Literally, edge of bankruptcy, restructuring the whole 9 yards, and come back raging.
Respect. I think a lot of people thought like, well, we don't have to deal with that anymore. But, you know, I think the mentality for savvy dealers are the same. And it's not like, oh, no, another competitor. It's like, okay, what can we learn from this? What best practices can we take away? What can we learn about the consumer? And then implement through a model where people actually have somewhere to go and return things and ask questions and talk to people.
Yep.
Human element's still good. Still going to win.
Human element's still good. No segue on human element.
Speaking of still good.
To
go away.
Going by.
Go bye. Hertz is set to offload another 30,000 EVs from its fleet due to, quote, substantial depreciation and escalating maintenance costs, heightening some broader challenges in the EV market. But faced with an unexpected high maintenance cost, this is coming up again, the high maintenance. I've heard like conflicting arguments on the high maintenance cost for an EV, but also bigger probably is rapid depreciation. The company plans to sell an additional 10,000 EVs beyond its initial projection of 20,000. So they're increasing their initial projection of 20,000 to 30,000. Hertz reported a $392 million loss for the first quarter, despite a revenue increase of 2%. So profitability, depreciation charges significantly contributed to the downturn, right? So accrual basis.
Yep.
Hertz spokesperson said, we've had to adjust our approach to EVs as the economic realities have become clear.
All right. You ready for this?
I'm so ready.
Here's why this is extremely important to any dealer that is listening to this podcast. This is important because Hertz is not just offloading this into the direct-to-consumer sales channel, which is one way that they go about this. So I
already know what you're going to say now because I know who you had dinner with last night.
I had dinner last night with Jimmy Douglas from Plug, ex-used car manager of the entire sales operation at Tesla. And he's created Plug, announced it last year at ASOTU CON. He had a call with Hertz yesterday. And if you're looking,
I'm so excited about this.
Get a large amount of EVs at an extremely affordable price. I would figure out how to get in touch with Jimmy or Susan O'Rourke and get on that platform, because that's going to be a massive place to find the opportunity to get these cars to you fast on the wholesale side of the market, and not just let Hertz take the retail position on these specifically lower price Tesla Model 3s.
I want to slow clap for Jimmy right now.
There's a dealer right now that is in Florida that is completely owning the used EV market, mainly because they've seen the opportunity with the used tax credits and the lower price Model 3s to get people that are in mid to subprime buying like credit.
Wow.
And get them into these EVs because they can, because of the price points and the tax incentives that they can put on the hoods of these cars.
Unbelievable.
So like this is a massive used car opportunity that, if you're willing to take the jump into the EV marketplace, like, is there for the taking.
Gosh, I'm so excited. I saw that invite to have dinner with Jimmy last night because I knew he was in Nashville. I'm not even kidding you. The moment I saw it earlier in the day, I checked flights.
It was so good.
And unfortunately, by the time I checked, like the last direct flight getting to Nashville was like in an hour from when I checked. It was like at 1:30, 1:40. But I was like, they got that morning flight home. Like, I was this close to be like, I'm coming to Nashville.
I'm coming to Nashville. It was a great dinner, by the way. Susan, who's joined this team, who basically built ACV, on the back of like going to every market in the US. She installed over 57 markets in the US, is now building out his channel partnerships and into all these markets. Like, they're going to be to the moon. I can tell you that right
Well,
now.
if you want to meet Jim, is Susan coming to ASOTU CON or just Jimmy?
Yeah, she is.
Hey, if you want to meet them both, they will be at ASOTU CON in a couple weeks. And people like that. People doing things that are helping dealers and really pushing the boundaries. Speaking of pushing the boundaries.
Whoa.
Segue.
This story, by the way, if you click the link in the show notes and read the article on Wired, it's a lot longer than I expected when I first started reading it this morning, but worth it.
Very worth it. So you may not know her name, but you know her last name. But Kat DeLorean, the daughter of the iconic Cars creator, is facing a trademark challenge in her quest to build a modern DeLorean, despite another company owning her family's name. All right. So when John DeLorean died, Steve Wynn, a mechanic heavily involved in the DeLorean brand, secured the DeLorean trademarks in the 1990s from John's disputed widow. Kat had all but abandoned the vehicle and a young family and was working as a cybersecurity engineer. So if you remember, actually, and we've covered this a little bit, but in 2020, Angel Guerra crafted a modern DeLorean model during the COVID lockdowns in Spain as a tribute, blending nostalgia with a little contemporary design. If you click on the article, or I think we might have a photo of it, you can kind of see, you can see that.
It's awesome.
Now, he's reached out to Kat, and she started going, hey, maybe this is something that I could be a part of, right?
Yes.
Gets a little interested. She plans to make a remake of the DeLorean, despite the trademark dispute that she doesn't actually own, and leverage the new car project to fund an engineering education program. So it's like she's taking it to like the feel good story side of this. Kat said, the venture isn't just about reviving the car. It's about empowering future generations to innovate. So she's leveraging a little culture for a little trademark dispute. So she's showcased this new design on social media. The proposed Alpha 5 from the trademark owner has received mixed reviews from purists for deviating from the classic DeLorean features. So
you have two potential DeLoreans out there.
Two DeLoreans coming to market. Not sure who's going to win because they got trademark issues. It's wild.
First of all, I have a couple bullets here. Number one, Kat DeLorean may be the coolest name I've ever heard in my life.
That's true. That's fact.
If you're going to have a daughter and her name is Kat DeLorean, like K-A-T, DeLorean's Catherine, she said in the article, she just never paid attention to the car because, it was DMC was the name of the company, the company. She goes, in my world, those initials stood for destroy my childhood.
So weird.
Well, John DeLorean, I found this out. It was like pretty legendary in vehicle design with General Motors. And when they initially designed the DeLorean, they were calling it a Corvette killer. So it was a vehicle that could actually like shoving a big engine into a car, right? He actually had a lot to do with the beginnings of the Pontiac brand and making that like a real kind of
that makes a ton of sense based on the look of the front nose of the car. Yeah.
However, John was a little bit of a wild child. He actually got like in trouble like with 60 pounds of cocaine and an FBI agent. Like it really, her life kind of fell apart. Sadly, she ended up having
That's why she calls it like something that kind of wrecked her childhood is the way that she sees the car. But
when you read the article, you realize that there's like gasoline in the veins. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so it's like, I don't know who to feel good or bad for. This is definitely a Netflix movie in the making, right? The two DeLoreans, but I think worth following along. And the DeLorean, like the one that she's working on design, is very true to like what a modernized DeLorean. The one that the Alpha 5, people are calling it like it just looks like another Tesla with gull wings.
Yes,
whatever they are, they're not going to be cheap.
It's a bit too futuristic, is the other one. I agree, but yeah, hey. It's kind of fun. Like this is, the DeLorean is kind of iconic in our history, especially because of Back to the Future and all that. So
originally, this is the article was really long. Originally, Ford wanted to pay a lot of money to make Doc Brown's car a Mustang.
That would have been,
and the director said, "No way. Doc Brown doesn't drive an effing Mustang," basically was the response.
What a great way to wrap a show.
Awesome story. Go check out the show notes and read it. If you're not subscribed to the audio version, just go to iTunes, Spotify, get the audio version of this podcast. without a doubt, we're going to be moving. We're all over LinkedIn today. We'll see you tomorrow.